The second oldest vehicle make in the United States, Cadillac was actually named after the founder of Detroit and is responsible for some of the most iconic vehicles in automotive history. But it's also seen some very dark days on a journey that's taken it from luxury leader to laughingstock and somehow seen it swing everything around to producing some of the best sports sedans on the market today. But this isn't a sedan world anymore. People love crossovers and people buy crossovers, so Cadillac builds crossovers, and this is their latest and smallest, the XT4. Now, a major complaint with a lot of Cadillac offerings is that they're just rebadged GM products. Take an Equinox, slap a Cadillac logo on the front and the back, and you can add a hefty chunk of change to the price tag. But that's not the case here. Instead, this rolls on GM's E2 platform, a privilege it shares with the Malibu and the Buick Regal Sport Wagon. Pretty good stablemates to have. So, what does Cadillac's newest and smallest crossover have to offer, besides a sub-35 grand price tag? Well, first there's an all-new engine. It's a 2-liter turbocharged affair that gets you 258 pound-feet of torque from 1,500 RPM all the way up to 4,000, where it hands off the baton to 237 horsepower that comes on at 5,000 RPM. And in theory, that all sounds great. But in practice, it sounds like this. I mean, that doesn't exactly scream luxury, does it? Thankfully, it's plenty of power to motivate this 3,600-pound carriage, and it does so by pushing that power through a mostly competent 9-speed transmission. I say mostly competent because there are a couple of major issues here. GM fitted this transmission with an extra short first gear for more oomph on takeoff, as well as an extra tall final drive to try and hit the fuel economy that it's advertised, and unfortunately, both just kind of fall short. This transmission can hunt around a lot at slower cruising speeds, especially when you're going over rough roads that might make your foot push down or let off on the accelerator a little bit, because the computer thinks that you want to go faster or slower, and the transmission can react fast enough that it starts looking for new gears to choose because it has so many to choose from. And this is the reason why 8, 9, and 10-speed transmissions work much better on vehicles with larger engines. It doesn't lead to very smooth driving. As for the back end, Cadillac is claiming 22 city and 29 highway for 24 combined miles per gallon. And that's cute, but I'm really solidly in the middle of the teens here and having trouble getting much higher. Now, to be clear, Cadillac does base those numbers on you keeping things in front-wheel drive mode, which I have not been doing, and I don't recommend you do either. Out back, there are a couple of clutches, which provides mechanical torque vectoring, which handles things really, really nicely in all-wheel drive mode. But in front-wheel drive mode, the engine in that short first gear just very, very easily overpowers those tires. And that's in the dry. And in the wet, let's just say I recommend you keep things in all-wheel drive mode. And sadly, those aren't the only issues. I say sadly because otherwise there's a lot to praise here. The overall ride quality is what I want for a class benchmark, though it's better with the base 18-inch wheels as opposed to these 20-inchers. Interior design, material quality, and comfort are all very impressive, and there's plenty of space in here too. Front or back, my 6'4" frame is more than enough room, and in the trunk you're greeted by 22.5 cubic feet. Drop the second row and that expands to 49.8, which lands at around the middle of the pack. Unfortunately, this space is slightly restricted by the angle on this rear hatch, and that brings up another problem: visibility. You just can't see out of the back of this thing. That tiny rear window offers nearly nothing, and the 3/4 views aren't much better. And Cadillac's answer is this video feed pumped through the rear view mirror, and that is an impressive solution, but I would counter that a better one would be to design the vehicle properly in the first place. Now, I feel as though I say this a lot, but I also feel as though car manufacturers aren't listening, so I am going to say it again. Seeing out of the vehicle is important. I promise. Now, if you're looking for some good news, gone are the touch-sensitive panels that used to frustrate nearly everyone, and we have some traditional buttons here in their place. They're employed in this actually really attractive design below this 8-inch touchscreen that I find is positioned perfectly to catch the sun from nearly any angle. Now, it utilizes Cadillac's Q infotainment system. It has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You can get some USB-C ports. But it's what's missing that really bothers me. Cadillac is pushing hard to make sure that you can get into this entry-level crossover for less than 35 grand, but be careful. This top-tier sport trim starts at $41,795, and by the time you add on the leather, the heated and cooled seats, the panoramic sunroof, the tech package, and the sport suspension, the final price for this is $57,135. And it still doesn't come with auto-up rear windows, to pick one glaring omission. If you're buying a luxury vehicle, but it doesn't come with leather or safety options or tech options or even a sunroof, what exactly are you paying extra for?
The truth is, I really want Cadillac to be a viable contender in the industry. When Cadillac is doing well, when it's considered a luxury leader and design trendsetter, well, that's something we can all feel good about. And the XT4 is definitely headed in the right direction. There's just still quite a ways to go before we enter icon territory. Hey, thanks for watching. For full details on the 2019 Cadillac XT4, just click the link in the description. You can head over to cargurus.com and read my full review. And for videos of some of the competition, well, just subscribe to the channel.